So wanted to go through what Family First Life looks like. Let me just get an idea of the room. Who in here has actually dialed the phones and booked appointments from Family First Life? Okay, good. So who has not yet booked appointments? Javier, you booked some appointments today, man. We were just talking about it over there. Hey, two, you raised your hand. I said, you know, there was no qualifier. One is good, and that's a beautiful thing. I figured out once I booked one appointment, I could book 1,000 appointments. Right. And once I made my first sale, you know, I was saying, Javier, I said my first sale, if the client was looking through their window, they'd have been like, oh my God, he stole our identity. Call the cops, you know, because I was wigging out like, yeah, yes, yes. You know, because I was like, man, I made $1,000. Now, given prior to Family First Life, my background was pumping septic tanks. And so, like, you know how much poop you gotta smell for $1,000?
Oh wow.
That's a lot of hours, dude. Like a lot of hours, dude. Do $10 divided by 1,000. That's how many hours you gotta smell this stuff for to pump it. And so septic. Does anybody not know what septic is? Okay, so West Coast get it. I did this in the East Coast. Like, what is a septic tank? You know, I was like, what do you guys? Where does your stuff go? But you know, so I pumped septic tanks for a living. I was 19. And so, and I think most people when they come and they look at like a job overview or a business overview, you know, they have kind of the same things in commonality, meaning that like most people are looking to make more money or have more time to enjoy the money for their family, right? Because one of too many and one of not enough is put you in a situation where you've got a desire to get more. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so that's how I was when I was 19. Now, prior to getting into insurance, I grew up and college was like a big thing. Like that was the ticket to get out of where we were at. And the reason why it was a ticket, because nobody in my family had ever gone to college. So guess what they all thought was why they were so broke? Because they'd never gone to college. Because that was the main variable, like nobody had gone to college. In fact, my mom and dad, they would argue about who was more intelligent. And then my mom would always win because she made it 4 months through 9th grade, and my dad dropped off before 9th grade started. So she's like, I got you, dude. Like, you shouldn't have been such a sluggard. 4 months, you know, got you. You know, but that's just how it was. And so my deal was, okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get a degree, get a good job, and that was my deal, you know. Now, going through college, I was working pumping septic tanks so I could, you know, buy Top Ramen and all the stuff that college kids buy, right? And I went to this family party, and my cousin was an insurance agent. He said, man, if you got your license and you went out and just helped like one family, like this industry is very lucrative. It's like just one family, you'll make like $500 a pop. And I was like, one family? Like I could do that. You know, that's not that deep. And if I did that, that would make more for me than me working the 20 hours I was working on the side of going to college. Does that make sense? So I was like, that sounds like a good deal. You know, and so I got into class, started to study for my license, and what I realized was that even just going through the class, like I was learning stuff that I felt like was going to help me more in my life than the college I was going to. Does that make sense? Like I was learning about like different ways of life insurance, retirement planning. I was like, shoot, even if I don't do anything with this license, just the fact that I've got it, I'm learning some stuff that's going to bring more value to my life down the road, which I thought was kind of interesting, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it was, you know, I was going to school, staying up late studying, and then on the weekends, like whatever it took, I was getting my license, you know? And I had a big why. I had a daughter coming on the way already. Like I figured if we're going to have kids, let's just start in our teens, you know what I mean? That makes a lot of sense, right? Fast forward now, I got 4 daughters, right? So if you're ever low on estrogen, you ladies, don't take pills, see me first. Walk through my front door, boom, you'll get hit with estrogen, bring your levels right back where they need to be. So nothing but girls. But, you know, I was looking at this saying like, I need to make some money. I need to make it quickly. And so the way Family First Life got started was by Shawn Mike. So this is what Shawn Mike looks like. Founded Family First Life back in 2006, I want to say. Is that right? No, 2016, 14? 13. 13, okay, 13. I found it eventually. So 2013. Rochelle knows that date, so I always go back to her for the date verification. But that's when it started. Now, it got started like this. So when I got going in the insurance business, it was really simple. I was like, if I can just copy the ones that are succeeding and I'll work real hard, I can see success too. Like in college, you know how I got good grades, Adrian? So if you were smart, right, and you studied, I sit next to you, and I look at your paper. I was like, it's an easy ticket, dude. Like, this guy looks like he's tired. He may or may not be on Adderall. I'm clean, bro, because I didn't have to study. Look at your paper, you know what I mean? But it was just an easy way to get a good grade, you know what I'm saying? Now, you could judge me for all you want, but then again, you can't. This business, that played out really well. So I look at this like, hey, this is like a college course. I could get going, get trained by the best people, and then just go out there and work real hard. It ain't that deep. And so Sean Mike was one of the guys, when I got started, that I was like, look at what he's doing, because he was out issue paying like $800,000 on his own pen. Like, he was crushing it. So he wasn't the guy that was like, I'm gonna go hire an army of people and make as much as I can on everybody. He was just like, I don't care. When I hire people, they can follow me. I'm gonna show them what to do, but I don't need anybody, because I'm gonna go out and make $800,000 on my own pen. And so everybody knows, if I'm teaching you and I'm helping you, it's because I care, because I don't need you. I'm gonna go out and sell. And so it was built by that, by producers that understood that, hey, you're the ones going out there seeing clients late at night, you know what I mean, people that don't show up, they should get paid the highest comp. So he started looking at, like, how can we make Family First Life the best place for an agent to come on board, if they're experienced or not experienced, and put their family in a better situation, make more income, get better comp, better training, and he kind of put that together. So Sean Mike's the one that founded Family First Life back in 2013. That's right, 2013. All right, so these are some statistics that I found out as I got started about the insurance industry. So when you take a look, it was founded in 1760, which seems like a long time ago. Family First Life, December 2013. There it is, so I can't forget. 348,000 agents have a license, right, in the country. Family First Life, 3,200. The average agent for somebody in the insurance industry is $48,000 a year. Family First Life, $93,000 is the average, which means a lot of people make a lot more than that. Some people make less. But you see how different that is. And I'm going to kind of go through so you guys can identify, and okay, that's why that's so different. Does that make sense? And so the beautiful thing about the market and life insurance is everybody needs it. Everybody. Like, it's Google verified. You're all gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, it's stamped. Looked at it. I looked it up before I came out because I don't want to get that wrong on my date. But it's gonna happen. I remember my dad. He used to say, Nico, I'd be pumping the septic tank, and he'd come behind me. He'd be like, "You smell that, boy?" And I thought he was making fun of me, because I was like, I had a weak stomach. Like, on the first day on the job, I was pumping a septic tank. This little old lady, she's like 84, Trey. She comes out, she's like, "You want some cool iced tea?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I want some cool iced tea." It's like 109 degrees. It's the summer. So hot and crap, not a good combination, I'm like, yeah. So I'm pounding this iced tea. I get the lid up, and the moment I pop that lid off to start pumping it, I just yak everywhere, So from there on, everybody I thought was just messing with me, I was like the weak one, And so, and they took pride in it, like, I got a strong stomach. It's like, I don't know where that's going to take you in life, but, so, my dad would be like, "You smell that, boy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's money, baby. That's money." And to him, it was money. To me, it was like $8 an hour. But what he said was, he's like, "Man, the thing about this business is it's recession proof, because everybody's always got to do their business, And I was like, there's some truth behind that, you know what I mean? Like, how do you stop doing that if money gets tight? You know what I mean? Like, it's still going to happen, right?
Stop eating.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that. I still think that's a short term.
Right.
So in this business, I was like, man, this is recession proof too. And there's not many things that are recession proof. In fact, I found out, because I started back in 2007, during the recession and all that. Like, my first full year was in 2008. That when things get tight, priorities get clear. Like family and the need and how important they are, it gets clear. But when everything's going good, like this external reward, that materialistic, benefit and payoff, those things start to muddle what is priority. And so what I experienced being the new agent in the recession, which I didn't even know the recession was going on. I swear I did, man. I was 19. I cheated all through high school economics too. I didn't know what recession meant. I didn't even look it up. I just kept hearing it, and I was like, yeah, I'm selling insurance. But the clients I sat with, like, they cared about their family. They weren't like, it was just they cared. And so sure, their budget got tighter, but they let go of all the other stuff, but they wanted to make sure that the one thing that they still saw value in, and that was there, what they cared about most, was protected, right? And so it's recession proof. No matter what takes place, there's always a need for it. And so, average age of Family First Life too, if you look at the industry, age is 60. That's the average insurance agent's age. Family First Life is 33 is the average agent's age. All right, this shows you some of the growth that's taken place. So Family First Life got named like the market disruptor. So when you look at this trend, like anytime you look at a graph and it looks like this, that's good. Does that make sense? Unless it's like your high blood pressure or something, but like this is good. So you look at 2014, a million in issue paid business, 21 million in overall production, then 58 million, 82 million, 101 million, 165 million, and then last year was 220 million.
Wow.
And this year we're poised, and it looks like projections will get us at 400 million, which means in the next couple of years we'll be $1 billion company. You say, how many $1 billion companies are out there? I don't know of any really. I can't think of any. And so we've passed everybody in that short period of time. And so when you look at trends and companies and how fast they've exploded, there's not one I can think of that's looked like that in our market space. And so that growth is pretty much, evident that, hey, what is taking place is working. Now, the thing I love about this is when you look at it, it's like a number, right? But behind these numbers, when we start, you hop on conference calls or you listen to trainings and you hear like Trey's story, like that number is just exemplifying a story of a family, of a person, of an agent that's had their financial situation changed, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like if we go from 220 million to 400 million, that's another 100 plus million that was paid out to you guys, to the agents in the company that are now in a better situation. So that's what that is, right? Which is pretty cool. All right, so you take a look at the way we break down. So this kind of will show you guys how the 161 million, what it looks like. So in 2018, we had 200 agents. Let's do this. You have 200 agents that issue paid over 100,000. So 19, as you can look, it doubled again. So just in 2018, 200 agents made over $100,000 with FFL. In 2018, 120 agents made over 200 grand, 30 agents over 300,000 issue paid business, 10 agents over 400,000 in issue paid business, and 5 agents over 500,000 in issue paid business. And this number doubled in 2019.
Wow.
So in 2019, we had well over 25 agents that issue paid over 400,000. Now that's, you can say that's their team. No, that's personal sales. So agent, that's if you don't hire anybody. Like you're just like, I'm gonna go sell. Like that's what personal sales from the producers in the company. No teams included. All right, now when you look at like the need behind it, right? So market's a big deal. Like if you're like, hey, I got the newest cell phone, we're gonna start selling. I'm like, dude, like I think the marketplace is pretty saturated. Like people are not in need for a cell phone. But you look here, 85% of consumers agree that most people need life insurance, and only 62% say they have it. So think about how many people need what is the most important thing, which is protection for their family. Like how many people do you think you could come into contact with if you said, is life insurance important? Like do you think you need it? Do you think anybody's going to say no?
No.
No, they're going to say we need it. Right? Why don't they have it? They don't have it because they haven't had a form or something that made it easy enough, convenient enough for them to go and take that step to get it. Because people by nature are procrastinators, right? But if we can get in front of them, if we can get in front of the families, they know they need it. This statistics show it. 40% of policy owners feel like they don't have enough coverage. So of the ones that do have it, which is not a lot, almost half don't think they've got enough. So even if they got it, there's still a need for you to go out there and give them more, right? $3 trillion a year industry, right, with the T. So anything that's got a T behind it, when we're talking about money, that's a good thing. All right, so let's talk about how the agent gets paid, right? So this is how it breaks down. And this is what got me really excited when I saw this as a good fit moving through college, and that was my initial vision of it. So the average client pays $83 a month. You times that by 12, that's $1,000 in premium. Times it by 100% because that makes my math easy, right? I want to keep credibility up here when I'm communicating with you guys. So 100%, that's $1,000, right? And insurance carriers, they advance 75% upfront. So of the commission, even though the client's only made one premium, they're going to advance you 75% of that. You can say, what happens for the last 25%? They pay you on months 10, 11, and 12. So Adrian, once you make it like the first full year in Family First Life, you get like an instant 25% pay raise. And agents always forget it. And all of a sudden, like, man, I got all this extra money coming in. Well, for now, forever on, you're going to have a 25% pay raise because all those back-end commissions are going to start to hit. So I said, if you could just get through your first year, all of a sudden, boom, 25% gives you a lot of working capital and stuff you could do, right? So $750 per policy, right? So $750. Who can get excited about making $750 for helping one client? So my first sale, right? 19. I go out. I close it, help the family out, and I freak out because of this. That, you know, when I said I was wigging out my car, it's because of that. I knew what that would look like. And so my question was, how many times can I do that? Like, Javier, if I could do it once, how many times a day can I do that? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, can I do it 4 times a day, 5 times a day? And it was that simple. And so that next 12 months, I decided to take a semester off of college. And then I was able to help, you know, like 8 clients that month. I made $8,000. And I was like, I'm gonna take another semester off, see how this thing works out. You know, I mean, sometimes it's working out all right. And I saw all these people, you know, that I developed relationships at college. They get out of college, end up with a degree, end up with student loan debt, and end up back on the couch. And I was like, that ain't the same program as I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? Like, who in here has got a college degree? So that's you guys, because you're not using it. You're in here. Does that make sense? And so I was like, this seems good. So I kept going, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the year, I had $164,000 hit my bank account in the Great Recession. But because it was simple, like if I could just go help X amount of families every week, that's what it'll bring in. And the great thing is, it's helping families. Does that make sense? Right. Like, I was talking to this person last week, and he said, "Man, I was really passionate about selling cars." I said, like, what do you mean? He's like, I was really behind it. I was excited about it. I said, that's fine. But I said, dude, listen, nobody walked into the car lot without a car. Like, they drove there, right, with a car. So it's not like they leave the car dealership like, oh my God, you changed my life. I could go take my kids to school now. I could go to the grocery store and get food. Like, no, like they drove a car there. Does that make sense? But when you leave a client's house and you provided protection for them, so yes, you get paid, but what you provide for them, that's such a big deal. Like, I remember having my first client call me up. It was like 4 months after I'd helped him. Not my first client that called me when they passed. And it was Shoshana. She calls me up. She's hysterical. And she said, you know, Paul, which her husband's name was Paul, she said he was in a crane, operating the crane. He had a power line, jumped out, and he's electrocuted to death. And he was like 32 years old. They had 2 little kids. And I remember going to that house, like walking in, building rapport. They had just bought the house. They had like DirecTV over there. They had everybody over there, like the water softener guy, you know, the alarm guy, like everybody was there. And, you know, so like everybody was at the house. And I remember saying, like, listen guys, like, I know you got a bunch going on, but this is the most important thing. It's protection for your family. So with all due respect, if you guys could sit down and I could go through questions, because I know that this is important for you guys. So they sat down. I went through everything. She was like 8 months pregnant. She was about due. They had the same age daughter that I had at the time. You know, her daughter was like 1.5. Cute little thing, Michaela. And I went through everything. I never thought about something happening. I knew it was a good thing to do. Like, I could sleep good at night, which what a blessing is to sleep good at night, knowing you did something good, and you're able to provide for yourself and your family. But when I got that phone call, and she's just broken, like now she's got and she had just had the baby 2 weeks prior to her calling me, you know, and like I can't bring them back, you know, they're gonna have to live life forever without him there. But she didn't have to go get 2 jobs to try to make the mortgage. Like, the kids didn't lose daddy and mommy because mommy's now trying to provide. And the only other sense of security that the kids have, which is that house that they're living in, is now paid off, and they have income to supply them to replace what Paul brought in. Think about how big of a deal that is. Like, I always say, like, the 2 biggest things that will mess you up, you know, is financial situation. Like, if anybody in here has ever been like, you have no money, like, I don't know how to pay the bills, I don't know how to eat, like, that sucks. Stressful. It's a bad situation. Or if you lose, like, your spouse, somebody that you love, how difficult is that? But imagine combining them. That's what I would think. Imagine having both those take place at the exact same time, right? Which is pretty cool. So behind this number, which is really great, is a family. So the agents I go out there and help or make the most money, they help the most families. which is pretty cool because you can get behind that. So if I'm not motivated by the dollar, are you motivated by serving and protecting people? Because the money will take care of itself, right? Which is pretty cool. So that's how that breaks down. So compensation. So Family First Life, the way it got set up was, hey, we're going to have the highest comp in the insurance industry. Meaning that like we're going to pay out the most out of any other industry, IMO that's in the space. So starting comp is 80%, and you can work your way all the way up to 140% comp. Most of the time, the way it's set up is 55% comp or 30%, and you're tap out at 80 or 110. So our starting is where most IMOs end. And to get to their 80 or 90, you got to have like 44 bubbles filled out. Like you got to have 4 guys over here with 2 guys and 3 other guys, and then 2 girls, and then a cousin of one of them, and you got to have over here like another 7 people. Like it's got to be all these weird things to hit it. We just say, hey, if you go do the volume, you're going to get promoted and move up. That makes sense?
That's right.
And once you get it, it's yours. You know, if you want to go on a 3-month vacation, you can do that, but the comp is yours. All right, so multiple income streams. So this is kind of how it works. So mortgage protection, final expense, and IUL is one part of an income stream. And that's kind of our bread and butter is mortgage protection and final expense. So it breaks it down, 83 bucks, $1,000, $750 deposit within 48 hours. So it's quick pay, right? You've also got annuities, so clients that have retired. And right now I think it's something crazy inordinate that like, what is it, every day, how many people turn 65? Is it 10,000?
Yeah.
So 10,000 a day turns 65. Now, when somebody's turning 65, do you think they're the type of person that's like, if I lose it all, I'll go get it back? Or I can afford to lose it all? Or they're the person that's like, I can't afford to lose nothing because I don't want to be the Walmart greeter, because I don't think that sweet old lady wants to work at Walmart greeting. I think something happened where she's got to greet there. Like, they want safety and security. Does that make sense?
Right.
And so you got products and plans, and we have training and support that teaches you to take a client that say they got 100,000 in a 401k, they can reposition that, and they get paid $5,000 in commission on average. And it's actually higher now. They all got bumped up, so it's like almost $6,000 on average every time you help move 100,000 into an account. We had one agent a couple months back that rolled over 1.9 million, and got paid something like $100,000. Right?
Oh yeah.
So how would you like to get paid $100,000 for like 2 hours worth of work? You know what I mean? He said that's crazy, and the client has no fees.
Wow.
They have no risk, and they have guarantees. That makes sense? A great product and great program. So we have training in advanced market sales to say, hey, you could come on board. Like my first year, I was all up in this category. That was it. You know what I mean? That's all the only category I was in. I didn't have the training support. It wasn't in place yet. We've evolved, and so by my second, third year, I started tiptoeing into here. And every year in the field, I brought in an additional 6-figure income just from ancillary income.
Wow.
On top of the 300,000-400,000 I was able to pull in from here. I was getting another 100 here. Does that make sense? So also we've got Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage. So that's another advanced market sale that as you're with the company, you'll grow, you'll develop, you'll evolve, and you'll eventually learn how this works. And the renewals is just, it's insane. So $260 renewal every year when you help a client. A lot of the clients you sit with, so I used to have, Trey, have you ever had a client where you walk in and you're like, they ain't got no bank account, like, I just like, you can almost identify. You walk in and like you're instantly high because it's hot boxed. You know what I mean? And like there's no couch. They got weed and hot Cheetos. That's it. You know what I mean? And so you're like, you can't sell them life insurance. They got no account. You know what I mean? And it happens every once in a while. Man, my last year in the field, I was writing every one of them meds up because guess what they're on? They're on disability Medicare.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So every one of them. And guess what? This is free, by the way. So how about selling a product that doesn't cost a client anything?
Oh wow.
But you still get paid $562 up front and then $260 renewal every year. So what if you go help 100 families a year, right? That's $26,000. You see what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. So not a bad program. So those are the main sources of income. Now this is the big deal right here. So like for me, I'm not above really anything, but to be clear, I wouldn't prefer like knocking on doors like, hey, do you want to buy life insurance? Like, hey, Reggie, you know you're gonna die one day. You want to buy life insurance? Yeah. I just wouldn't want to do that. You know what I mean? Or like passing out cards at the mall, like harassing people to get it. It's a lot of work. And by the way, like you'll eventually hit a lid even if you do go help all your friends and family.
Right.
And so this is what allows you to walk into a multiple six-figure income your first year. Because there's qualified people that have raised their hand and say, we want to make sure that when we die, our family's protected. So our company, understanding that Family First Life, has got really great at lead distribution and the ability to generate leads through different vendors. All right, so there's mortgage protection, final expense, T65, Facebook leads, internet. So we have multiple different facets so you could generate leads. So every fresh leads, Adrian, to go out there and work. So it's all ratios. If I give you X amount of leads, Frank, every week, and you commit to the same work, the same activity dialing, like, do you realize you're going to get the same result, right?
Right.
Numbers are numbers. You can't beat them, they can't beat you. So this helps give you commission-based security. Because every week you can call out your number, man. You say, this week I'm going to make $8,000. How? I'm going to get X amount of leads. If I make X amount of phone calls, that always yields X amount of appointments. I'll sit with X amount of families. I'll help X amount of families. I'll make X amount of income. So it's very predictable, right? And so this is a big thing. Now, the thing about Family First Life also, all the other IMOs, what they do is they reach out to different lead vendors because an IMO is not a lead vendor. They get a lead vendor. They white sheet it. They bring it in-house, act like they're the one that's creating the leads. The agent buys a lead from them. They make money on that lead. They then sell it like 3-4 times. And so, Coleman, if you sell a policy and make money for your family, do you think it matters to them? They're making money off your leads that you're buying. So like, hey, good luck, man. But we just made. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. They all charge fees, so you got to pay like monthly fees, like residual fees. If there's late meetings, they call them like night owl stuff. That's another fee. You say you got to pay a fee to stay up late and listen to somebody talk that doesn't really sell a whole lot, but it's a fee. Like there's different fees related. Conventions and training cost money, like $500, $1,000 a ticket. Here, no, doesn't cost you anything. Like we have a big convention in Vegas that's taking place in a couple weeks. It doesn't cost anything. It'll cost us $1 million plus to put that event on. The thousands of agents that are flying from across the country. The ticket price is $0. Doesn't cost anything. Sean Mike's like, we'll never charge an agent for anything. Don't cost me anything either, dude. Cost me gas to drive there. So the way it works is this. These leads, you can get them instantly. So Facebook leads, if you place an order, you can get them within 48 hours, right? Internet leads, same thing, you get them, boom, just like that. Client goes on, they got ads ran, they fill out their information. The ad says something like, you may qualify for state-regulated life insurance programs at low cost, affordable rates, check your rates here. They click it, fill out their information, they hit submit, right? You get the lead, it's got their favorite color or code word. So when you call them, you're like, Adrian, Paul, you send back a request on Facebook, on one of the ads that was ran, your code word was favorite color was blue, is that correct? Yes, great. So you're not a telemarketer, does that make sense? You're just giving them a call back and servicing the lead. And so every week you can get these qualified people to call. It's a funny story. I was on the phone with Andrew years back. We were in the field and we just like, we call each other while we're, driving appointments and making sales and stuff. And so he's like, hey dude, I just left this client's house and I got this internet lead and it's like 2 houses down from the one I just left and it just came through. I was like, dude, you can't call it. You just got to show up at their door and just be like, you just, hey, did you fill this out? So he's like, all right. So he goes and he knocks on the door and this lady answers and he says, ma'am, were you looking to buy life insurance? And she goes, what the heck? Just freaking out, just looking around. What's going on around here? And so how do you not sell that? And he's like, I'm just kidding. I just left your neighbor's house. We got your request that was sent in. It comes to us directly. I'm the underwriter to service your area. Right. He goes in. He's like, how do you not sell that? Like, what do you think she said? Like, hey, Frank, the 22 seconds that's elapsed since me hitting submit and walking the door, I've changed my mind, man. Like, I thought a lot about it the last 22 seconds. That's not what happens. That makes sense. Like, they're looking for the protection. So my prayer was always like, God, man, not screw it up. Because they know they need it. Nobody sends in a form and doesn't think they need it. They invite you to go sit down with them because you're going to go meet them at their house. Like, just don't mess it up. Like, they're already asking for you. Like, you're an order taker. It's like, it's like if you walk into like McDonald's, the person behind the register is not like, hey, let me talk to you about all the features of this Big Mac. And they don't try to sell you the cheeseburger. Does that make sense? You walk in and you just say, they say, how can I take your order? You know, that's it. Like you're an order taker. Because they've already bought. They're at McDonald's. Somebody starts asking all these questions like, well, you should probably get this one, this and that. You're like, are you high? Like, did you smoke before you came to work, or did you smoke on the job? Like, you would leave because they creeped you out. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you treat the client like a buyer because they've already purchased, right? So that's what the leads look. Override income. So this is a way where you can build significant income and build a real business. So for me, like, I understood that I wanted to go out and I wanted to have control over what I can make. I didn't want it to be based off anybody else, but if I wanted to go out on a Tuesday and help 5 families, Frank, and make $5,000, I wanted to be able to do that. I didn't want it to be dependent on somebody. But I also knew that I didn't want to be selling insurance when I was 88 years old. Like, I didn't envision like walking up with a walker, knocking on the door like, hey, you want to buy insurance? Like, I wanted to have a real business that was established. And so with Family First Life, when you hire somebody, you get the spread when they sell. So if Coleman hires Frank, and Frank goes out there and he's at 100% comp, and Coleman's at a 120, and Frank sells a policy for $1,000, Frank's gonna get paid his $1,000, right? Yeah. Well, Coleman's gonna make the spread between the 100 and the 120. So he'll make $200 every time that Frank's goes out and helps a family. That makes sense? And so you can make crazy amount of income. And the great thing is everybody's at a high comp, the agents are making the most money, but there's still good spread. So if Coleman has 10 Franks and they help 1 family a week, that's $2,000 a week in income. That makes sense? And people are beating down the door to join Family First Life because of all the stuff that I'm going through. So it's not difficult to hire. And in fact, most people that are building a business, they build it with the people they know. There was a lot of people they know already looking for something like this. Like Coleman knew Frank, right?
I know Adrian.
And he knows Adrian. It's just the way it works, right? And people are looking at it. Like, I knew Andrew. And I hired Andrew when he was 18. Andrew made like $2.3 million last year off of this. No personal sales. All override income, right? So above this too, FFL gives you bonuses. So once you hit a certain level, you can get a bonus check, right? You can build a big enough business to get a percentage on that from the company. Not like this fake equity stuff. Like I got a real deposit of $54,000 last month for my bonus. And every month, boom, boom, and it's from corporate. Does that make sense? So on top of the high comp, they'll pay you a bonus once you hit a certain level. And it's just a selflessness that Sean Mike built the business with. So that's how to build a business, what that looks like. The insurance companies, we have a ton of different carriers, so that way no matter who you sit with, you can provide a product for them. Right? If a client's got cancer, you can write on policy. If a client's perfectly healthy, you can write on policy. If a client's got diabetes, there's a specific product for them. So no matter who you sit with, we've got a product for them. A lot of these carriers too, they have e-apps. So when you sit with the client and you write them a policy up, you hit submit, and they tell you if they got approved on the spot. So 48 hours later, boom, you get a paycheck. Does that make sense? Yeah. When I got started, it wasn't like that. Like I filled all the applications. The first 2 times I did a trade, they were on the wrong state. So I was fired up. Like I thought I was gonna retire. Like I'm retiring. I just made $6,000 because that's what you think when you're 19. And you make $6,000. I was like, I'm retired. Like I'm going to go to the Bahamas, looking at vacations. You know, contacting AAA. Like what kind of deals you guys got? You know. And then I realized I submitted them all, and they were on the wrong state application. Like, oh, you got to. It's fine. You just got to go out and get clients to sign the right app. And then the clients weren't answering their phone. And I was like, I went through this bipolar situation. I was like really high, and I was like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. But I figured it out. But now it's just like you submit it online, boom, instant answer, instant approval. So you could go sit down with a client, Coleman, on a Monday and get paid for what you just did by Wednesday. Does that make sense? Which is good. But does anybody in here have their spouse with them? Okay, I can tell you. So this was good. And my wife came to one of these meetings one time, and she's like, "You mean you get paid in like 48 hours after sitting with the client?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's crazy, huh?" She said, "Yeah, it is crazy." And then we were walking through Venetian, and they had one of those Louis Vuitton stores. She's like, "I like that Louis Vuitton." I was like, "I bet you do like that Louis Vuitton. It looks great on a mannequin. Really good on that mannequin." And she's like, "Why don't you write an e-app? That's like that's one e-app hanging from that mannequin's hand." And I was like, "You got a point, you know." So it's just like that, it's quick money. All right, so weekly schedule, real quick, I want to dive into this. So this is what it looks like. So how to write 10,000 a week in 40 hours. So if you run 20 appointments a week, you should write 10,000 in premium. If you put 8 hours on training, so we're going to count the 40 hours a part of that is going to include training, right? Which is not really working. Like you're sitting there getting trained. So you spend 8 hours of training on phone scripts, in-home videos, sales conferences, YouTube pages, and you could do this really late at night, early in the mornings when you should be doing it. But training. Average appointment time is 1 hour. So if you sit with 20 families, that's 20 hours. If you spend 10 hours, you should book 20 appointments, right? If you dial for 10 hours, 2 hours to scrub and check on pending and make sure everything's going good. So it's 40 hours a week. Does that make sense? This is a brief schedule of what it looks like. Wake-up calls, appointments. So it's simple. But the main thing is this. You got to make sure your schedule's dialed in. Because if you don't have a schedule, right, then all the circumstances, situations, things that will pull you, they will pull you. You'll look up at the end of the day and you won't have any money, right? But if you stick to this, it's inevitable that you're going to go out there and make that kind of income. It's super simple. All right, sales tips. As far as getting going and making this thing work for you, activity is king, right? So just massive activity. Don't overthink it. I like what Trey says. He says an hour in the field is worth 10 hours in the classroom. So as much as it is, all the training, that's great, but you'll get so much more by just getting on the phones and getting in the field, right? So activities, number one. Plugged in, don't miss the conference calls. It's a non-negotiable, right? If you can listen to the top in the industry, why would you not continue to see what they're doing, how they're doing it? And also that allow you to, as you take massive action, identify the deviation, make those course corrections, and continue to grow and get better from the activity that you take. Process, it's the expectation. You don't, if you're like New Year's resolution, I want a six-pack. It doesn't happen overnight. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's just there's a process involved. So don't get the wrong expectation. You're not going to go out and make $1 million overnight. And so this isn't one of those things where it's like, hey, you could do hardly anything and get a whole lot of things. That's not this program. Like you're going to have to work and work hard if you want this thing to work out. And realize that there's a process. There's a learning curve, but just keep at it. And there's no way you don't get better if you just keep doing it. Right? So understand the process. Ownership. You're the CEO, right? So when you start the business, don't have this entitlement like. Entitlement is, I can do whatever I want to do. And I think most people say yes to too many things. So they become self-employed and now they can say yes more often. Or they have an option to say yes, but they didn't. And they say yes to all these things. And what happens is their business dies. So when you're self-employed and a business owner, you're the CEO, you should say yes to less things until your business gets to a place where it allows you, enables you to go out there and then say yes to things. But it's responsibility over entitlement. You're now the employer. You're the owner. You've got to dictate what you do. You're going to hold yourself accountable to do it. And that's one of the most important things, so that you're the CEO of your business. And then go the extra mile, right? If you don't want to go door knock, do that extra door knock. I think it pays the biggest dividends, that little bit extra, right? I can tell you tons of stories of that last client where it's like 9 o'clock at night, like I don't want to go, it's 40 minutes away. I'm going to get there at 9:30. And I go and I write it up for $300 a month and make $3,500, right? I'm like, thank God I went and I helped the family, right? So go the little bit extra. If you're supposed to start dialing at 8, start dialing at 7:45. It's that mindset that will pay big here because there's no lid. You're self-employed. You get paid what you're going out there to do. All right, last thing is this. If you believe that you're a good fit, what you want to do is get with the person that invited you tonight and connect with them. They'll give you the next steps of what it looks like to get started. If you're not licensed, you can go ahead and get into class. We sponsor everybody that comes on board with Family First Life that we believe is a good fit. We sponsor you through a scholarship program, so we pay for the pre-licensing, so we can help you with that. With that said, I want to have Trey come up real quick. What's your level now, Trey? Is it
senior VP.
Senior Vice President?
Yeah. Big time.
So that's over 400,000 in paid business?
Yes.
So over 400,000 issued paid business. Trey's story is unbelievable. When I say I love him, I really do mean it. And I think that's another great thing with Family First Life. Like, it's like we've got such a culture where people just like it's a team. You know, we care about each other. You know, like I would take a bullet for Trey. I think he'd do the same thing. I know he'd do the same thing for me. And it's just, you can't find that many players.
I would. I totally would.
In your arm? In your arm?
Yes, that's right. Just
his arm he would, yeah.
My butt had to have a lot of
Sideways.
padding.
There you
Sideways.
go. But you know, it's pretty cool to be work with a company that you can, you know, grow together. Like I think I'm a better dad, a better spouse, a better person because of the association of the people that are involved with the company. And I think a lot of times leadership is what dictates growth. So as good as a company can be with the comp and the renewals and all that kind of stuff, which yeah, it's undeniably great. But to be with a company that truly cares and you can grow in all these other areas is pretty cool. So I've grown a lot from Trey in many different areas. So Trey, if you kind of talk about what the next step should be and a little bit about, you know, what your story was.
Sure. So I got started with Family First Life in October of 2014. My first 6 weeks in the field, I made about $13,000, which was the most money that I've ever made at 6 weeks doing anything up until that point. I've had a lot of different jobs, a lot of different things that I've done. I was nervous about getting started with this because I thought it was sales, and what I learned was all I got to do is show up and help the people with the requests. You know, I was more like an order taker, just couldn't mess it up, put the work in. Because the last sales job I had, they actually fired me, so I had a lot of baggage from that. And I didn't just get fired. I got in a fist fight with two people on the way out the door. And I would have won, but the one lady, she was like 67, you know. And so I had all this baggage that was hanging me up, like, you know, you got to be a great salesperson, all this other things. But what I found out was, because of the leads and the system that was in place and the people that were there to mentor me, all I really had to do was just put in the work over time. And what happened is slowly over time I just got better at it, just like anything else you've ever done. So that's all it's really been. And so for those of you who are looking to get started, I mean, the next step is just to start. You know, get in a class, get your license. If you already have your license, get leads and get moving. And that's really the key, is just don't overthink it. Just keep it moving. Don't get bogged down into, you know, what could be, what should be, where I should be. You can't grow from where you should be. You can only grow from where you actually are. And just be real with yourself. And, you know, the only reason why the grass is greener on the other side is because somebody's watering it. And just keep those things in mind and keep moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's it.